Hello and welcome to another episode of Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzie and I'm your host for today's show. As you all know, we're doing a match reaction of Liverpool versus Rangers. And speaking as a Liverpool fan, that was more like it. That is the performance I expect from Liverpool. Yes, it's not the strongest of oppositions, which is Rangers respectively, but a much, much better formation. Now, before the game even started, I saw the team lineup and I thought, this is an interesting formation. So I've been banging on about this for weeks, about a switch of formation where we should be playing 4-2-3-1. I actually said it in my last episode as well. And who knows, maybe Klopp's watched my show or someone's told him in the air that, look, this is something that you might worth looking into. And it worked. I think the team looks a lot better in terms of the setup. You might remember Klopp said a few weeks ago that we need to try and reinvent ourselves. Maybe this is the formation. Some might think that this is me getting ahead of myself in terms of what I saw today. For me, it was just not the result or how we played. It was more of the setup. I think if you look at the personnel that the team have, 4-2-3-1 suits us to the T. So I was really, really pleased to see that formation deployed. Surprised to see Jota start. I would have expected Firmino to have started as a number 10. But maybe because he's played such a decent amount of run of games, maybe a slight break was needed, as well as Fabinho, who was on the bench as well. So yeah, positive in terms of the new formation. I think it's a formation we should be looking forward to a little bit more going forward. I think it gives us the perfect balance. So yeah, we can speak about the Arsenal game as well later on. But key moments of the game, Liverpool, as I mentioned, they started with full force. They showed a lot more intensity. They were more tenacious in their play, very direct, which is the normal Liverpool, but it hasn't been the team that's presented this season. We haven't been that team. So good start for us. Darwin Núñez hits a shot that was saved by the keeper, McGregor, who was phenomenal today. Eventually, we get the goal, and it was my right back, not anyone else's, because a lot of smack about Trent Alexander-Arnold. So I feel like a little bit of respect needs to go into his name. Yes, we all know he's great in terms of his ball ability, but I feel like we underestimate how good this player is at 23 years old. And he just showed you another level to his game by producing a fantastic free kick right in the corner, unstoppable, pretty much like a Beckham type free kick. So great to see from him. And as I mentioned, McGregor was phenomenal in this game, and he was kept really busy. Made a huge amount of saves, especially from Núñez. Diaz was also close to scoring in the first half. There was a moment where Salah was on an amazing run from the right-hand side. Threads a through ball to Núñez. He hits it first time, and McGregor makes a smart save with his legs. And a few moments later, Núñez again through on goal, hits it with his left foot and straight to McGregor. So he should have done better with that chance. I think that one should have been a goal. But yeah, I think McGregor was definitely Rangers' his best player of the game. Second half, pretty much I think it was in the first 10 minutes, we were awarded with a penalty. Lovely first touch from Diaz to control the ball, dribble past a couple players, and then gets brought down in the box, which was the right decision for a penalty. Mo Salah steps up and hits the back of the net with ease. So 2-0 up for Liverpool. As I mentioned, McGregor was just unstoppable today in terms of the level of saves that he was producing. And one shot from Jota where he hit with pure venom. And McGregor, again to rescue for Rangers, produced a phenomenal save. Probably the best save of the game, in my opinion. Throughout the game, Liverpool looked very comfortable in possession, never really troubled, until I'll probably say around the 85th minute, where the new substitutions from Rangers changed the outcome or should I say, changed the shape of the Rangers team. They had more width and pace on the wings. Um, Great clearance by Simicas as Mudondo skips past Joe Matip with ease on the left wing. And yeah, that save was worthy of a goal, really. That's how good it was. And then the Croatian striker, Cholak, who I would have expected to have started, but I knew that Morales would have been starting ahead of him. But considering he's been in such great form, 8 goals in 8 games, he might have felt a bit, you know, not justified in terms of not being selected. I think he might have felt a bit hard done by. He was close to scoring coming on from the bench from a set piece, and it was a good save by Alisson. So overall, look, I'm not going to get ahead of myself and say Liverpool back or anything along those lines, but very pleased in terms of how he performed. Pleased because we've switched our formation to 4-2-3-1, something I've been screaming out for a long time. Feel like we have the right players for that system. So I hope that it's the formation we deploy more this season, and it's not just a one-off. I was watching the post-match comments from the pundits on BT Sports, and they were saying that this would be like a one-off due to the opposition. But I feel like this will suit our team going forward. There was a bit of unpredictability in our play, especially the front half, where Rangers didn't know how to mark Jota or watch the runs because Nunes was attacking the channels. So all of our attackers were interchanging, which is something that the trio we had in Mane, Salah, and Firmino were known for doing as well. So that's come back in the team. I think we were too predictable at times earlier this season. Even Henderson was producing first-time passes, and those kind of moves made a big difference. So a lot of positives. I'll do a player ratings as well to go into more depth in terms of how every player performed. But yes, better performance and a bit more upbeat in terms of going into the next game against Arsenal in the Premier League. So really good to know. Got a comment here from Madison Smith. Does this performance transfer over to the Arsenal game? So great timing, Madison. I think it's good timing. Had it been last week's performance against Brighton, I wouldn't be as confident going into this game. I wouldn't say we'll beat Arsenal with ease or anything like that, but I just feel like it puts the team in a positive spin in terms of how we should play and breathe some confidence within the squad, because it's not like we've been playing bad football. We played decent football, but there's been a lack of intensity. We haven't defended well as well. So there's been lots of areas in our team that we haven't performed. So it hasn't been because a certain player hasn't done well. It's the collective. So if collectively we can kind of stick together and show a bit more confidence, then I feel like we'll be able to string more wins as the time goes on. I think that's been our problem this season. We've been very, very inconsistent. So yeah. And then Madison's second comment is this is a different Arsenal team, but I don't think Liverpool will fare them. No, I don't think Liverpool will fare them, to be fair. It's a trick one because Arsenal are in great form. Even just beating your rivals, Tottenham, that effect has gone into today where they've drawn 0-0 against Frankfurt. So I think Arsenal's a different kettle of fish this season. I don't think we'll be, not worried is not the right word, but I wouldn't say we're scared of the team. But I think with this performance, I know it's not the same caliber of opposition. It gives the players a bit more confidence going into the game. So yeah, we'll do a match preview on Thursday in more detail. But yeah, in better mood, I would say, than I was on the weekend because, yeah, I would have been a lot more less confident if we hadn't played today. So what we'll do is the player ratings for today. So let's start with Alisson. So Alisson, for me, wasn't really troubled this game. He made probably his only save, I would say, in the latter stages of the game after the 85th minute when they had a couple chances on goal. Before that, very comfortable on the ball. Didn't really have to do much. So I've given him a solid 7 just because he wasn't really as active as he has been in previous weeks, which, to be fair, he shouldn't be. But that's how poorly we have been defensively as a unit. Trent Alexander-Arnold, for me, gets an 8 out of 10. I think he was fantastic in this game. Obviously, the goal was phenomenal, but his passing was just sublime. He produced some amazing crosses throughout the game. Defensively, he was better as well. Obviously, didn't get troubled as much, but I think for Trent, it's about sticking to the basics when it comes to defending and just improving from there onwards. So solid performance, and he's received a lot of stick from all corners of the earth, to be fair, about his recent performances. I couldn't care less what other people have to say. We all know what a talent he is. He just needs to stick to himself, concentrate on his game, do what you have to do in training, and just produce it on the pitch. Let the football do the talking. Matip, for me, had another solid performance, so I'll give him a 7. Van Dijk had a much better performance. I've given him a 7 as well. Maybe unjust. Maybe should have given a bit more higher, but I feel like he didn't do anything spectacular, but he did what I expect Van Dijk to do. He was a bit more aggressive today, had a bit more of a demeanor about him where he wasn't going to let anyone go past him, which hasn't been the case in the last few weeks. Won most of his aerial challenges, had a couple of good moments in corners where he tried to nod the ball to our attackers. So yeah, solid performance, and yeah, hopefully it continues. Simicast for me as well, stand-up performer. I've given him a 7. There was a few moments where I feel like he was pushed off the ball quite easily, and he was out of position a few times as well. But overall, really solid performance. It's really nice to have a second choice fullback to say where he can come in and you don't even feel the loss of Robertson in the team. That's how much of an impact he's had. So hopefully Ramsey can replicate that sort of level of play on the right-hand side whenever he's fit, because I think that is needed in our team as well. But in regards to Simicast, obviously made that last-ditch tackle as well, or clearance, I should say. So yeah, did really well today. Midfield, I'd say Henderson gets an 8 out of 10 for me. I think Henderson was the difference maker today. Definitely one of his best performances this season. Made some really good passes. Gave that sort of safety blanket to Trent as well whenever he bombed forward. So that might be the reason as to why Trent hasn't been successful, or he's been caught out a bit more than normal, because we've deployed Elliott in that right side of midfield role as well. So that's why I was so adamant on us switching formations then to play a 4-2-3-1, because the two in midfield, that will be their responsibility to cover both fullbacks and also protect the centre backs as well. So I think today was proof, and you didn't really feel like Henderson was out of the game and he was just defensively focused. He had a complete game. He did everything that was needed. So for me, this formation has to stick, in my opinion, and Henderson performed really well today. Thiago as well, I've given him a 7. I think he obviously beautiful on the ball in terms of his quality of passing. Definitely makes a difference, makes things tick. So a good solid performance from him. Jota, now this might seem like a quite low ranking, but I've given him a 6 out of 10. Not because I think he had a terrible game or anything like that. I feel like he wasn't effective on the ball. I think in terms of his overall play, his movement and finding spaces was fantastic. It confused Rangers. They didn't know how to mark him or how to deal with him. And because he's not a traditional number 10, I'd probably say Jota's weaknesses is actually link-up play. So the number 10 role doesn't really suit him in that regards, but it offers that unpredictability in our play where the opposition do not know how to mark him, and he can always make sort of ghost runs as well. And he almost scored today if it wasn't for McGregor producing a great save. So I'll give him a 6. A bit harsh, but I've got such high expectations of Jota that's why I'll give him a bit more of a lower ranking. But great to have him back in the team, and hopefully he's fit enough to play against Arsenal this week as well. Front three, I've gone for Salah. I've gone number 7 out of 10 for him. I think he had a solid performance. For me, I want Salah to be a bit more, not attacking focus, but I want him to make more runs in the central areas where he doesn't have to stick out wide as much. That might be a tactic that he's been told to do to accommodate Nunes, but I feel like he should still be able to play his natural game where he attacks from the right but comes into centrally, because Nunes is capable of attacking the channels, and he showed that this evening as well. So I want more from Salah. I want more movement from him, more shots from outside the box. I feel like he thinks twice about shooting now. Before, it would have just come very natural to him. It would have been more instinctive in terms of his shooting. So I feel like that's something that he can improve on going forward. Nunes, I've given a 7 as well. I think very unlucky not to be on the score sheet. McGregor made some fantastic saves. Great attitude in terms of finding chances throughout the game, finding good spaces, good moments. For me, his link-up play needs to improve as well. His first touch can be a bit erratic. And I feel like sometimes when he gets the ball, he's not quite aware of his surroundings as well. But these are areas that I'm sure he will improve as time goes on. In terms of shooting, I feel like he can be a bit more clinical up top. There was a couple of chances I feel like he should have scored, especially that one just before halftime where he hit it with left foot. It was straight at the goalkeeper. Had it been in the bottom corner, it would have definitely gone in. So yeah, 7 out of 10. I think that was a good account of himself, and I do hope he starts against Arsenal this week. And finally, I've gone for Diaz. 8 out of 10. I think Diaz was fantastic throughout this game. Showed some really, really neat touches. One sort of criticism I would say is when he attacks from the left-hand side and cuts in, they're quite predictable in terms of what he's doing. So maybe he needs to add a bit more variation in his play where he can lay it off to Nunes or thread a nice ball to Salah. But I feel like that will come the more games he plays with Nunes and Salah. Gets a better understanding of how they play and get used to our style of football as well at the same time. But for me, he's been very impressive. The one that really presses from the top and the way he outpaces defenders as well is a great sight for us Liverpool fans. So yeah, long may it continue for him. And in terms of the substitutions, didn't have a lot to do, to say the least. Fabinho came, very hard to rank him. I'll probably just give him a 6 just to give a safe option. He played for 20 minutes. Same for Firmino as well. Firmino playing in number 10 position, so that was an interesting one for me because I feel like that is his natural position. He showed good moments here and there, but I would like to see him start in that role going forward, especially if we end up deploying this formation in the future, and see how he links up with Nunes. And I think it could be a good partnership going forward. And James Milner, Harvey Elliott, and Joe Gomez didn't really have much minutes, so I can't really rank them. But yeah, good minutes for Elliott to come on. Milner obviously made a good, actually, last-ditch tackle in the last minute that could have easily been a goal. So good moment from him there. And then Joe Gomez came off for Trent Alexander, who deservedly received a huge round of applause from the Liverpool fans as he performed a great game himself. So yeah, very positive in terms of how we performed today. Onwards and upwards for us. So we've got Arsenal coming up this weekend. So I'll be doing a match preview on Thursday. I'll be joined by a special guest to speak about the game. So yeah, so that concludes our show for today. So thank you for tuning in, guys. Please, if you haven't already, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. So yeah, we'll be back this week for match preview, and then Friday I'll be doing might even do a match preview for the Premier League, all the other games as well. So make sure to follow me on social media. As you can see, Ozzie FTP on Twitter, or you can follow me at Ozzie.ftp on Instagram. So So yes, that's it for today. So thank you for tuning in, guys. Take care, stay safe, and I hope to see you all soon. Good night.